It's all your fault. This would have never happened if you didn't do it. It's all your fault. You're the one who caused this. Don't feel bad for yourself. It's your fault. You did it. Yes, you did it. You did it. You did it. Don't cry. Don't feel bad. If you never...
Is that you? Is that you? Are you constantly blaming yourself for something that you did or didn't do? And you can't seem to shake the feelings and the voices in your head. Is that you? Well, this video is for you. This video is for me. You see, I've dealt with being guilty about something I did, something that wasn't my fault. I've dealt with self-guilt and unforgiveness. So that's why I felt like it was so important to share this with you, to share with you how I was able to get over those feelings of guilt and those feelings of it was all my fault. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. So the first tip, the first thing is to acknowledge the event, to acknowledge exactly what happened. So that's your first step. You want to acknowledge what happened. For example, if you're a guy and you cheated on your spouse or partner, I want you to say to yourself, I acknowledge that I cheated on Mary and I didn't care about her feelings. I acknowledge that. That's all I want. I don't want you to say you're stupid. I don't want you to say you're a bad person. I just want you to acknowledge the facts. The facts are you cheated and you, at that moment, in the moment, you weren't thinking about her feelings. That's the fact. And it's so important for you to acknowledge that, because a lot of times we like to sweep things under the rug or try to ignore it, or we just tell them the truth and that's it. No, you have to go, you have to talk to yourself. You deserve to tell you what happened. You deserve to know. So you need to tell yourself, even though you know what happened, you need to tell yourself, this happened. That's the first thing I want you to do. Tell yourself, this happened. And another example is, say for instance, you watched somebody get bullied and you didn't do anything about it, and that person ended up committing suicide, and you felt like if you had just stood up for them, if you had just said something, maybe they would still be alive today. If that's you, I want you to acknowledge it. I want you to acknowledge. Don't just try and ignore that the person is gone. Don't just try and move past it. I want you to acknowledge. I witnessed. I want you to literally say, I acknowledge that I saw Mary being bullied and I did nothing about it, and she committed suicide. Just acknowledge it. Don't bad talk yourself. Don't say you're stupid, you're foolish. Just acknowledge it. That's it. That's step one. Just acknowledge that it happened. Because a lot of times we just like to pretend and move on, but then we're still hurting on the inside. But I need you to get some time. If you're by yourself or whatever, just get some time to just sit down and acknowledge this happened. And the second thing I need you to do now, so now you're at the acknowledgement stage where you acknowledge that yes, it happened. The next thing I need you to do is allow yourself to feel all the emotions with that acknowledgement. So if it's pain, cry your eyes. If you have to cry, cry your eyes out. If you have to scream, scream as loud as you possibly can. If you have to punch something, not a person, but if you have to punch something, punch, 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 get your anger out. I need not to point out you hurt yourself, but I need you to be able to express your pain. Don't go off shouting at somebody, but I'm talking about just expressing express it in a reasonable way. Express your pain. Allow yourself to feel the emotions that you feel from doing whatever you did or not doing whatever you didn't do. I need you to acknowledge it. And then there are those people who blame themselves, because even though the thing wasn't their fault, they still blame themselves. So say you went to a party late at night. Your parents told you, they tell you to not go. You wore something skimpy. You ended up being raped. And you feel like if you never disobeyed your parents, if you never wore that dress, then it would have never happened. But what you would acknowledge is you would acknowledge that you went to a party and you were raped. That's it. The dress and all of that doesn't matter. But you also have to acknowledge that it wasn't your fault. You also have to say it wasn't anything I did. For this last category of people who need to forgive themselves, you also have to acknowledge it wasn't your fault. The first person you could say, yes, I did it knowingly that it would hurt. The second person with the suicide, they can say, yes, I didn't do anything about it. I could have done something. And the last person, you have to say and know that it isn't your fault. What happened is not your fault. So you then, after you acknowledge and you allow yourself to cry or to get out your anger, and then we move on to the next stage. For the first person who intentionally did something and who cheated, you need to say, I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to put somebody else through that pain. I'm not going to do it again. You have to determine that within yourself. For the next person who saw somebody getting bullied, you have to say, okay, next time I'm going to make an effort to stand up. And for the last person, you just have to say, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. So those are 3 things. This is the first 3 steps. I'm not going to say it's going to happen like magic. Boom! You're going to feel forgiven and free. But these are the first 3 things to help you really move past what happened. To help you really get out the emotions of what happened. Acknowledge, feel the pain, and determine what's your next step. If the situation arises again, what's going to happen? So that is why it is so important to forgive yourself.